Well, Adam, I am back from my cruise. I am still the color of a ghostly white. I don't tan. But I come bearing 3 new intro jokes.
Oh boy. Are they a nautical theme?
No, none of them are nautical themed, actually.
Okay.
Do you want saucy, funny, or eye rolling first?
Do them in that order, actually.
All right. Saucy.
Saucy.
If a vegan and a vegetarian jumped off of a cliff, who wins?
I don't get it.
If a vegan and a vegetarian jumped off a cliff at the same time,
Yeah.
who wins?
Still not following. Sorry.
America.
Oh. Wow.
America.
The Unrelated Birth Podcast does not condone violence against anybody who disagrees with it. Next.
2 robbers are robbing an ABC store. For those of you who don't know what an ABC store in the state of Alabama, that's a liquor store. 2 robbers are robbing a liquor store. One of the robbers picks up a bottle of Woodford Reserve and says, "Is this whiskey?" The other one looks at it and says, "Not as whiskey as robbing a bank."
What
What do you call a
That's
wizard
whiskey.
that fell down the stairs?
I was going to say it has something to do with Dumbledore, but I don't know. What is it?
Tumbledore.
Tumbledore. Oh. So I was thinking to Bumbledore or something like that. Tumbledore.
See, you're thinking too much.
Yeah,
And-
see,
and just for thinking too much,
No.
I think it's time to hit the music.
No, I have one for you. Boom.
No!
Right off the
No,
bat.
that's
Boom.
not-
Look. Boom.
Boom.
So Professor Xavier, Professor X, Dr. X, Mr. X, whatever they call him.
Professor X.
Professor, I know, is interviewing new candidates for the mutant school. And this woman walks in and he goes, "All right, what's your power? Let's hear it." She goes, "See that ceiling fan up there?" He said, "Yeah." She said, "I know exactly at any ceiling fan in the world how many clicks it takes for it to stop." He's like, "That's impossible. No one knows how many. Show me." And she goes, "It's going to take 3. So he stands up, clicks it 3 times, and goes, "Wow, it really stopped." She goes, "Yeah, that's because my power is actually making you be able to walk." Boom.
Brothers, but not by birth. Family, but not by DNA. David and Adam are 2 of a kind, and they want to borrow some of your day to talk into your ear holes about midi-chlorians and roller coasters. Those 2 things are unrelated, but so are they. They're unrelated at birth, like most people who aren't related. Unrelated at birth, but they're brothers in a brotherly way. Now it's time for the phenomenal brother and the golden voice of the South. They're brothers from different mothers, but they're both really proud to be unrelated at birth.
And welcome back into another exciting and wonderful Unrelated at Birth. I just realized I can't do this, Adam.
I'm on mute. Why not?
I don't have my podcast juice.
You don't.
What's wrong with me?
You looked awfully sad. You have an entire wall of that juice.
I do. I do.
And it's right around the corner, but we've already started the show.
We have. So I guess I'll just have to welcome into Unrelated Birth. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the South, the human jukebox, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color all the way from the top of the state of Alabama. That's right, in Madison, Alabama, in the Unrelated at Birth podcast studios. And as always, I have brought along my friend from the area of the country where apparently you can see Noah's Ark floating by, the one, the only, Adam, just for Russell.
Can I just say, nice. That was very nice. One breath, and you took it all the way through. So very nice. Yes, we actually have not gotten that much rain where we are, so it's the South Florida thing. Miami Lauderdale today, they got in the last 2 days on the order of a foot plus of rain in some areas down there. So yeah,
I've seen the videos of Disney World this week.
Oh yeah, there have been some downpours for sure,
and it looked torrential.
Yeah, there was. I saw a video of people standing in the rain with an umbrella covering a baby stroller while they stood under some of the shade umbrellas the cast members use. Did you see this reel?
I haven't.
And they're about 50 feet, 10 to 20 yards away from the covered area where they do the new Encanto show. And I'm like, do they not let people in there when it's raining? You set up your phone to film yourself? And then I realized I was in social media. So, yeah. But yes, it has been some heavy rain, which we really, really need. But our pond behind us was probably 2 feet low, and now it's probably about a foot and 10 inches low. We have not gotten that much. We have not gotten that much. So,
well, I'll tell you, you could have taken all of the rain that I got in Tortola.
Yeah.
And, dude, did you see the pictures that Amanda posted?
I did, yes.
I will say that by the way, that's pretty good pricing for Blanton's.
Yeah, there you go.
Sent me. I like it.
I just figured you might want to see where you could get some juice at a good price. So
I do. That's you can't find Blanton's for under $125 here in Huntsville. So that's not bad.
And you're closer to Kentucky than I am.
Alabama's a
I understand it. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
By the way, in Tortola, I had probably the smoothest bourbon I've ever tasted.
What was it?
They had a bottle of Blanton's Gold, and the bottle itself was $350. I thought about it.
Wow.
You can't buy it in the United States. It's only sold overseas. But in the same shop, they had an open bottle on the shelf. I said, just for kicks and giggles, what's a pour? To them, a pour is about 2 fingers. So that was about a 5-minute conversation for me. It was $35.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I had dramatic music queued up for when you said the number, but that's not even really worth the dramatic music.
$35 for a pour that you can't even buy a bottle of in the United States.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Check it off your list.
It's nothing like the bottle that they had on the Disney Fantasy that I sent Adam a picture of. You could go ahead and play the music now.
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. On the Fantasy, they had 2 bottles. One was Pappy 15 year. The other was Pappy, I think it was Pappy 23 year.
That's an incredibly specific number.
Well, it is, but it's typical Pappy. That's
sure. I get it.
First day of the cruise, I go up there. The girls are walking around looking at the kids' club. I sit at the bar. They had my Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale on draft. So that pour me a glass, and I'm just as I do when I look at all the bars, I peruse all the bourbons they have. My eyes locked. I thought, and I said, "Look, I got to ask." He said, "I know what you're about to ask." And so before I even asked, he said, 1 pour of the 23, $400 a pour. One pour of the other Pappy, $375 a pour.
Yeah, that was loud on purpose.
Yeah, it was. And to Adam's perfect timing question, yes, I did have the internet package, so yes, I was texting back and forth with friends at home on a cruise. Go ahead, Vance. I know you're rolling your eyes at me because you do every time I talk about having my phone on a cruise. I know. I know. Hey, you texted me more times than I texted you.
Hey, if the line of communication was open.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so I texted this picture to Adam. I said, "Oh, they've got it. What should I do?" He said, "That bottle's half empty," meaning people have actually paid for this. So I actually asked the guys. I was sitting there, and Adam texted me that. And I asked him. I said, "So, does that mean that you've sold that much of this?" He said, "Yep." On the last cruise, which was Memorial Day, they actually had one guy who bought a round for the 5 people sitting at the bar.
Wow. Well, you've already paid for a Disney cruise. You're already in about.
Might as well.
You know,
I thought about it. I paid for both of the girls to do Bippity Boppity one day.
I thought you were going to say I paid for both the girls to try it too. The 23-year, they liked that one better than the other. No, I know. I'm kidding.
I paid for both the girls to do Bippity Boppity, which if anyone has 2 girls or a boy and a girl and you've done Bippity Boppity Boutique, you know that's a cool $400 at least that you've dropped. I thought about it while they were at Bippity Boppity and I'm shelling out the cash that I've had flowing. I looked at the bottle, and I looked at Amanda, and Amanda knew exactly what I was about to ask because she just preemptively said, no.
And I looked at her, and she looked at me.
We looked at it.
Yeah.
And it said no.
Yeah, ain't happening, bub.
I'll say this. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the cruise. It was great. Disney Fantasy is awesome. I will say the next time we go on a Disney cruise, I will make sure that the captain that piloted this ship is not the captain that is doing the next one. Great captain. He did a great job, except he was very particular when it came to things that you could bring on the ship. Disney cruises, all cruises, usually allow you to bring an extension cord that is not a surge protector. Because both Amanda and I use CPAPs when we sleep. There's usually not enough outlets in the room, and so we have to have additional outlets, right?
Yep.
We have what we normally bring on all of our cruises, as well as an over-the-door hook, like one of those little shoe caddies that we always put stuff in, just to help us with room on our on a already cramped cabin.
Sure.
We get in our room, start unpacking, get our luggage, find that little slip says, "These are the things that you have brought that is considered contraband." That's not what it says, but it's basically. So I go.
How did they put the slip in there? Because they're checking it when they take it from you at the
right at the
front
porter
space. Then they take it back there, and it's in your room with that slip in it.
No, so when they bring it up, they've gone through it, and the things that they've taken out, there's a slip says.
Those things are no longer in your bags.
Right. And
okay.
I've seen this on cruises a lot. At the end of the day, or at the end of the cruise, you go down in the terminal, and there's hundreds of people who have brought steam machine, like those pocket steamers that you can't have on a cruise ship.
Yep.
Read your papers, people. But they have that little slip, and I'm fuming mad. So I get over it. I figure it out. We make it work.
Yeah.
Get to the terminal, and I say, "Look, tell me what's going on." They said, "Well," and I could tell that this porter had already answered this question 100 times. She said, "It's up to the cruise captain every single time. So if you overload a circuit," I said, "Well, there's no surge protector, so that won't happen." He said, "I get it, but if you overload a circuit, which has happened to this captain in the past, you're floating on its, without power."
Oh, sure, yeah.
So it's up to the cruise captain's discretion to decide what's allowed on board and what's not. So this cruise captain had a little bit of Machiavellian tendencies.
So a cruise captain actively tries to avoid a reoccurrence of an issue he's personally experienced And rather than just get a surge protector for next time, you're going to avoid his ship altogether.
You cannot have a surge protector.
I thought you said you could have an extension cord.
You can have an extension cord as long as it is not a surge protector.
Okay, got it.
And that's what we've got.
But you need the surge protector for the extra outlets.
No, you don't. No. You can have an extension cord with extra outlets.
Okay.
That is not a surge protector.
Okay, then I'll word my question differently. Instead of buying a extension cord with just outlets and no surge protection, you're going to actively avoid this cruise with this captain for the rest of your life. No, that's how you started this conversation, though.
But that's what I've done. I have a extension cord without surge protection on it.
So are you still going to avoid this captain?
Yes, because he doesn't want any extra things. And
so you didn't have any extra things at all?
No.
And you still made it work?
Very, very, I had
But it still worked.
Okay. Shush. He also is very stingy with the horn.
You are so bougie.
I am bougie when it comes to my Disney cruises. I'm sorry.
With the horn.
So here's when I go on a Disney cruise, I want to hear my cruise ship sing. So do you want to build a snowman?
Womp, 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 womp,
right. This cruise captain is very stingy with the horn, and all the cast members said that as well. It's like the cast members don't like this captain either.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's
I'm
so
bougie.
That is so
I am
funny.
very particular. I'm not a passhole.
I'm going to go on Yelp. He's stingy with the horn.
I would never say that. I would never do that. I would never be a somebody else. I prefer my Disney cruises where, so here we go. We were in Port Canaveral.
Yeah.
Carnival was tooting their little horn.
Yeah.
Putting
out the fire. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sitting there thinking, how awesome would it be if I'm the captain? I'm sitting there thinking, okay, watch this. And I play.
And you hit him back
When
with
You
one.
Want Your Punish.
Oh, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This guy didn't. He just let it happen. Okay. Right. Okay.
We don't need to blow the horn, okay?
Come on, dude. You are the captain of one of the coolest ships on the ocean. Play your dang song.
And he knows it, too. That's the thing. He's like, I don't need
Right.
the horn. I don't need the horn.
I don't need the horn.
This is the ship. She speaks for herself. I'm assuming he was German. I don't know why. They tend to be European. A lot of the officers and stuff are from other parts of the world. Italian.
He was Italian.
Okay, I'm not going to go.
Anyway, but so we went to Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Tortola was dirty. It felt like we were in a third world country. I mean, it really did. They actively talked about, oh, you want to wash your money? You bring it to our islands. Like that. We heard that probably 10 times that day. And then we go over to St. Thomas. Beautiful island. They were so proud of their island. We did a pirate treasure hunt. Really cool. We got to see one of Bluebeard's towers.
Okay.
It was just cool, and it was beautiful water, like beautiful countryside, really.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go back to St. Thomas without a cruise ship.
Did you get to do the airport thing?
No, because it was raining.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the airport thing I think it's in the British Virgin Islands.
I thought it was on St. Thomas.
Maybe it is, but we weren't on that side of the island. But here's what I want to do. I want to be on St. Thomas on the 4th of July. Because you're really within 20 minutes of the British Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
So I would get a boat, bring a bunch of tea, and dump it in the harbor of the British
Nice.
Virgin Islands. And then I'm wondering, do they shoot fireworks over to that island?
Nice. Never forget.
Right.
300 years later.
I really wanted to wear my "It's not treason if you lose"
Oh,
or
yeah.
"It's not treason if you win"
Yeah.
shirt.
Nice.
But Amanda wouldn't let me
Wow.
for some reason. I don't know.
YOLO, man.
Although I did see a guy at the British Virgin Islands. I don't know why we British Virgin Islands, because they were part of the Allied forces too. But it said 2-time World War champs. I was like, Amanda, I need this shirt.
See,
said,
right?
No.
She can't say no to everything. Come on, Amanda.
I know. It's like she's ashamed to be with me in public.
Eventually, there has to be a yes.
Right?
It's just a shirt. You're only going to wear it 2-3 times a year. You know?
Come on. No.
Dave, help me out. You're only going to wear it 2-3 times a year, right?
Times a week. I only wear it 2-3 times a week.
A week.
So, Adam, how have things been with you, man? You
goodness.
were stuck in Florida.
I was stuck in Florida. No, it was good. I have not told you this story. I'm going to tell a very brief version of it on here just because it's an interesting story. I have stitches in my scalp.
What did you do?
I know, nothing bad. I just had a they call it a pilar PILAR cyst on my scalp, and had it for a long time. Never bothered me, and then it decided to rupture, and I had to do something about it. And I even went to a dermatologist a long time ago, and he's like, if it's not bothering you, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, cool. And had to go, and finally it did something where I had to do something about it. Wasn't bad, wasn't painful, no problem. Just had to finally do something, and went to dermatologists don't do it anymore around here. Plastic surgeons do it. So I've had plastic surgery, you could say.
Oh.
And they cleaned it out and got the cyst out. And he's like, "You want to see it?" And it's like this white, dangly thing. I was like, "Oh heck yeah, man!" So I took a picture of it and everything. I'll send it to you later. No,
you won't.
Anyway, they took this gauze, soaked in like betadine, iodine solution, stuffed it in where that was, and it was hanging out of my head. And so they were like, tomorrow morning, have your wife just slide this out and just clean it and everything like that. And I'm thinking the whole time, man, he's like, I'm tempted to put a stitch in it, but I'm not going to. We're going to pack it. It should heal nicely and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay. He said, if anything of that wall, that cyst wall is left in there, it's just going to come back, and I want to make sure it's clean. I don't know that it's all out. And I said, okay, cool. So she goes to pull it out, and it's stuck. The blood has dried. It's stuck. She gives it a moderate, because, Blair's not going to hurt me. She gives it a moderate tug, and I feel like and it hurts, like lights in my eyes hurts, right? So I call them, and they're like, all right, come in, we'll take it out. So I get there, and the lady's like, so, all right, what happened, all that? And she's like, all right, ready, 1, 2, 3. Blair's sitting there watching me, and I'm like, oh, and she's like, I'm almost done. I'm sorry, and I know it doesn't matter that I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, and I'm almost done. She finally gets it. I mean, it hurts so bad. Then he comes in and numbs me up.
Magician's handkerchief.
Kind of, yeah. She said I had to do it that way because if I gave you a chance to think about it, you weren't going to let me do it. You would have fought me. She said I've seen it too many times, and I don't know that I would have, but whatever. But he comes in, numbs it up, and stitches up where it was, and it's been fine. It's been healing well. That's why I'm not wearing a hat with my headphones today. But yeah, I had an adventure while you were sailing the 7 seas and the dirtiest islands of the Eastern Caribbean. No, I'm just kidding. But I had an adventure. You didn't even know.
Oh, dude.
You didn't even know. So yeah,
I would have fainted.
Yeah, she said, "Are you about to go?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm actually good." And she goes, "Okay," because she said I just rotated off of the pass out cruise, so I know what to do. If you're fine, I said, "I'm fine. Don't worry about it." But yeah, she went for it, man. But
I've told you the story of when I first got COVID. I went to do that gene or hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah,
I told you that story, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for our listeners who haven't heard, now I have to. You said.
I mean, you've introed it now, yeah.
Right? Have you? Did you go? I was like, oh, I would have. So we go to get this. Mandy and I both have COVID. Can't smell, can't taste, all that fun stuff. This is back when they were doing the IV treatment for COVID. So we go, and we're sitting in my buddy's doctor's office, who's now my doctor. They put the IV in my arm. I hadn't had any lunch that day. And I already was feeling a little squeamish. IV goes in my arm. Next thing I know, it's like, dude, it's starting to get, it's a little warm in here. And then I was like, oh, I'm getting dizzy.
I'm getting dizzy.
Next thing I know, it's 10 minutes later, and
Wow.
I'm awake.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit to say this. I pissed my pants because when you faint like that, you lose.
You just let go. Yeah.
You let go. I peed my pants. I fainted. Ellie and Harper are sitting there in the room, so they witnessed this. And I'm like, what happened?
What did you put in my arm?
My buddy said, here's the funny thing. It just started going in your arm. We didn't get anything in. That was
just
pressure.
inserting it into. Wow.
That
dude.
was just the pressure.
I didn't know that part. Holy cow.
I said, yep. And what people wonder why I didn't follow in my mom's footsteps to be in the medical profession.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
No. Yeah.
Me. All right, we're going to operate. Faint.
Yeah. It was funny though. He was like, so how long has this been there? I said, oh, a long time. I even went to another doctor, dermatologist, said, don't worry about it if it's not bothering you. He's like, don't listen to those people. He said, the next time you have something like this, just come with it. We'll knock it out. We'll be done with it. You know, you don't have to deal with any of this kind of stuff when it sits for a long time, all that kind of thing and all that. And he said, all right, so I'm going to go over here real quick, get you numbed up. We're going to let that sit. And then we're going to come back in. We're going to stitch you up and lecture you some more about how you just do it next time and get it taken care of. You know, I was like, fine, I got it, you know. Okay. But no, he was a nice guy. It was just weird to go into this building, and the place where I went is a medical building that houses rheumatologists and pain management and chiropractors and all this. And here I am with holding a bandage to my head like it's the emergency room. And everybody's like, what is this guy doing here? He's in the wrong spot, you know. But yeah, it was an experience.
You know, if I had something hanging out my head like that, I'd wrap a towel around it, and I'd feel like I was like in the Revolutionary War, and I'd feel like Hamilton.
Yeah,
you thought I was going to another place.
I thought you were going to Quirrell in Harry Potter or something like that. But it was funny because while he was stitching me up, he's like, "You doing okay?" Because I could feel my scalp, you know, being tugged upwards and stuff, right? Sorry, I wish I had a screenshot of that. Sorry, Dave. But anyway, I could feel all of that, and he's like, "You feeling okay?" And I said, "Actually, I feel like I'm in a Halloween Horror Nights house right now. That's how I feel." And he asked Blair, he said, "You want to see like what I'm doing?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she went around, she was watching while he was doing it and stuff. Like, we're evidently really strange people. But yeah. But yeah, so I had an adventure, but it's gone now. But I'm going to segue. I learned something during my time not being able to really do much. I can't bowl in our league for another week or so, and
oh no,
I haven't been able to go outside a lot because I can't sweat right now. And so I've watched some YouTube, and there's a channel called Expedition Bible. And this is going to lead to my Virgil Ask the Question, leads to our big topic. All right, I'm going to walk you through a journey here. It turns out that they have been able to predict with enough confidence where all of the biblical scholars agree of the actual year in our calendar system of BC and all that, the actual year of the Exodus. Like know with 95% certainty the actual year of the Exodus.
I want to say, hold on. 1426, I think.
It's in the 1400s, yeah.
Yeah.
So what they were able to do was there was a time with Jonah when he was in Nineveh. Mm-hmm. And they think it was in that time frame that could God have used an eclipse has been something that they kicked around a lot while he was preaching in Nineveh. They found Syrian documents going all the way back to a king named Sennacherib, I think is how you say his name.
Yep.
And found King Sennacherib, and lined up with the Bible mentions that King Sennacherib invaded Judah during Hezekiah's reign, right? They just never had a date to go off of. They just kind of knew. And there was a guy back probably 200 years ago that estimated 1491 BC for the Exodus. And so that's kind of what they've gone off of. But they actually were digging inside of this Syrian archaeological site. And as they were digging, this dirt wall collapsed and revealed huge thing of writings on the wall and scroll, all this stuff that was kind of just packed in there and hidden. One of those has the actual date in the old calendar system of when that invasion happened.
Oh,
And
wow.
so by lining that invasion date of 701 BC up with King Hezekiah's reign, and because the Bible, and you think to yourself as you're reading through these Bible plans, why did they say this king was this many years and such this many years? Oh my gosh, can we just please get to the good part, right? But by using that information that was documented, they can actually work their way backwards based off the kings and how long they reigned and how long they know things happened with people after Moses, but before the king's system started. And they've landed at 1446 BC.
Man, that was close.
Yeah, you were close. So it's just neat that they used eclipses to kind of do that, because by knowing the date of this eclipse that happened, knowing the date that this invasion happened, lining all of this up too, because I didn't mention the eclipse part as much, but because of knowing based off of NASA's website, NASA has not only predicted future eclipses to the day and the hour, but they can go back and say when they happened before.
Right.
And so around this time too, there was an eclipse so it's just all about how they've used actual things we know to predict that. And they do think then that about 15 years into how long Jonah was in Nineveh, they think that there was an eclipse then. So that how did God use that and all kinds of, it's just amazing stuff. But
I mean, there was definitely eclipse the day that Christ was hung on the cross.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's been a proven fact too.
Yep.
So
it's just fascinating. It's a channel called Expedition Bible. He actually located the lost river that flowed out of Eden in one of his things, and uses actual step you through science and facts and stuff to do it. It's not just like conjecture. It's really cool.
I think I've seen that, and he's actually seen he thinks he knows where the Tower of Babel was.
Yes. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It turns out, and it's fascinating to watch that, because it's not actually a tower. A tower meant something different back then. It's like this big. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Virgil asked a question led me to planets. Planets led me to think about that thing I had watched. Anyway, so we'll do the question now, and then we'll lead into our main topic. You good with that?
Yeah, you're just going everywhere.
I am. Here we go. Let me cue it up.
Hey, guys, I got this week's Virgil asked a question. The biggest planet we know of is so huge, it's surprisingly that we don't talk about it more often. To help you understand, the most common planets we find are called super Earths or mini Neptunes, and they are about 1.5 to 2 times bigger than Earth. Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, is so large that all the other planets could fit inside of it, or about 1,300 Earths. Now imagine Jupiter next to the largest exoplanet we've found, which was discovered in 2013. This giant planet is 7 times wider than Jupiter, about 500,000 kilometers across, and it weighs 752 times more than Jupiter. It's located 350 light years away in the Musca, M-U-S-C-A, constellation, and takes 250 years to go around its star. My question is, when was the Musca constellation discovered? Note to this, though, is that the first depiction of this constellation in a constellation atlas was in Johann Bayer's Uranometria. It was also known as Aspis, A-S-P-I-S, which is Latin for the bee. Thanks, guys. Have a nice podcast.
Muscus,
yeah. So what year?
Hold on. I'm
okay.
Using his context clues here.
Got it.
Latin. So we're talking Galileo area. Galileo. Magnifico.
Oh, I had to send him down the tangent. My bad.
Italy makes me think of the Renaissance. Total guess 17th century.
1603. You got it.
Okay.
1603. And the cool thing about it is that they did not have the tools that we had today at all.
No, not at all.
So again, using tools they had way back then, they started the understanding of something that we've just understood more about as we've gotten more knowledge and more things have come about.
So that leads in perfectly to one of my conspiracy well, okay, we'll talk about I just
go ahead. We're ready.
I just let the cat out of the bag. A couple months ago we talked about we're going to talk conspiracy theories, and when I was on this cruise, I thought of or heard a really good movie conspiracy theory, which I scoffed at first, but then I got to thinking and, watched this movie again and thought, this is probably right.
So movie conspiracy theory, I don't know that I understand what a movie conspiracy theory is, like an alternate plot or what was really going on.
It could be, you could read into context clues of how maybe this is what the writer and the director were thinking.
Got it.
But if you look at it on just surface level, you would never see.
So like the Pixar movies all being in the same universe kind of thing.
Right.
Got it,
that,
okay.
That this has been disproven now, but that Tarzan is Anna and Elsa's distant cousin or distant stepbrother, or no, actual brother.
Yeah.
But it's been disproven because of Frozen 2. Yeah. So that's no longer a thing.
Okay.
But you talking about back in the 1600s, people finding a planet that's 250 light years away or something like that without the tools that we have today. They don't have the Hubble telescope. They don't have the James Webb. A conspiracy theory that a buddy of mine has, and I'll say it, Carrie Loney has this conspiracy theory, and every day I hear a little bit more that makes me think, Carrie might actually be onto something.
Okay.
But his theory is that the aliens that we think are aliens are actually people who used to live on this planet and it destroyed and they have gone off and found another place to live, and they're just coming back to see that we're making the same mistakes. His reasoning for that is there's no way that without modern miracles or modern tools, someone could build a pyramid to the exact right angles that they're at to where they'll stand today. Because think about it. If now granted, the Israelites had a hand in, the Exodus, we just talked about that, had a hand in building that, making the bricks for it. But if you're going to make a pyramid like that for a Pharaoh's reign, that's only going to be 30, 40 years probably. And you're telling me that it took that short a time to make all the bricks, to dig out all these intricate tunnels, to paint all these things, and you are doing it one by one, hand by hand, just using a simple plane. And then let's talk about Stonehenge. It's all these tons of rock are set to these perfect geometric shapes that makes the exact right time. You're telling me that this was done just by looking at the sky? There had to have been something there.
Kind of, regardless, it makes you feel like Apple event announcements aren't really as big of a deal as they seem like they are to us, are they?
Right, exactly.
We have new ways of putting ads in your face. Meanwhile, back thousands of years ago.
Right. You have people who are making perfect triangular shapes.
Yeah.
When if you tell me to eyeball something, it looks like...
The one thing I've always thought, and I've seen something a long time ago that planted this seed, and it's not my Roman Empire per se, but I do think about it from time to time, is the one thing that I think the Egyptians understood is and I know it's not in the middle of like sand dunes in the desert, but a lot changes over a very short period of time on Earth. If you look at weathering and things like that, it does not take long for, if you look at like shows like The Curse of Oak Island, where they actually are digging things up, even if it's not treasure.
Are they?
But they're excavating sites where people lived in these houses only 150 years ago, 200 years ago,
right.
And they look like no one ever lived there at all. So there's no telling how much has changed in thousands of years on top of that. But I think they understood how to use sand as a fluid. I think that's how they move things. I think that's how they got them so even. I think that's how they got them so straight, is they understood some fluid dynamic property of how to harness sand that way that we don't understand.
Which in and of itself, then why is Egypt not?
Well, it's the same. Yeah, no, I get you. It's the same question of all of the history of the Bible. It only took a couple of invasions to destroy the ark, destroy the temple. And it does not, at the end of the day, take much to erase what man does. Doesn't take a lot.
Exactly.
Doesn't take a lot.
So why are these monuments that were made in 1400 BC, why are they still standing?
Yeah.
When really, let's look at what's happened in that part of the world in only the last 100 years.
Yeah.
How are they still there?
That's a great question.
So,
it's interesting. Can I go? Can I go biblical?
Go.
Can I go biblical for a second on that whole thing?
You've already gone there. So
I heard a thing the other day that talked about the interpretation that the 7 days weren't days in Genesis; they were 1,000-year periods,
right?
Dinosaur extinction and whatnot, right? And I heard somebody make a really good point that in order for things like that to hold water, when you hold a biblical worldview, then you would have to assume that at some point in those random 1,000-year periods, or however long that they might have been, that something died, which would mean that death existed on earth before the fall, which means that God did not look and see it was good. That means that death is not something that came from sin, and therefore, why did Jesus have to die on the cross at all? So no offense to the alien theory, but for anything like that, dinosaurs or otherwise, if you believe that they existed in those 6 days that were really a different period of time or whatever, death would have had to have happened before the fall, which means that sin was not what introduced death into the world, and therefore the rest of the Bible is not really that plausible.
Although sin introduced death to humans.
To everybody.
No. To those that were made in God's image.
Doesn't say that, though.
Well,
we did not eat animals until, who knows how, it doesn't really speak to how long the animals would have lived, right? But
right. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I fully believe, because animals don't have souls, because the only created beings that have souls are humans, I fully believe that death was a thing and could have been a thing for animals.
Could have been a thing for the purposes of whatever God intended humankind to do. Made in his image. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
So, while I agree with you, I do agree with what was said. Because I do believe in the God can speak it and therefore it happened thing. And God made things with age.
Yes.
And the dinosaurs happened before Noah. That's because we are told in Job, dinosaurs are mentioned in Job.
Yeah.
The great monsters of the deep.
Yeah.
That's a megalosaur.
We got. Talk that one. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Just don't necessarily line, but okay.
Well, I
don't think dinosaurs existed at all. But
I
love Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park. Don't get me wrong, but I honestly question that. And can I tell you the reason that I question that? What animal was it? If you look up, there's an animal. If you look up a raccoon skeleton,
yes,
and you asked a scientist who did nothing but dig up these bones to say, I want you to paint a rendering of this animal, they would not paint a little fuzzy cute guy with a bandit mask and fingers and such. You know what I mean? If you look at a raccoon skeleton, it's got fangs. It's pretty scary.
Okay.
So I think there is a lot of hyperbole, and those creatures did exist. Yes. Were there creatures that existed at one time that don't anymore? Yes. We see that with things that have existed since man has documented it. Right. But I don't think that it was what they think it was.
Okay.
Although the T-Rex would be the proof that God has a sense of humor. Those little arms, man. It's like, come on.
I got a big head.
And little arms. Why aren't you seizing the boy?
But anyway, like I was saying, I forget where I was going, but dinosaurs were a thing, and they were killed off in the flood. Anyway, all right. So, Adam, do you want to start with my movie theory, or do you want to start with your theory?
They align, I believe, right?
They do. So I'll start.
You start. I've shared enough. You start.
So I have been. I was on the fantasy this week, and one of the Broadway shows they do is Frozen, which if you've never been on a Disney cruise, first off, Royal's great, Carnival's not. Norwegian is somewhere in between. I would say that if in the hierarchy, I'll put it in the way of that people can understand. Carnival's Kmart. I'd say Royal Caribbean is one of those upper class Walmarts.
Walmart neighborhood market.
Yes.
Something like that. Disney
is Target.
Where's Norwegian?
I'd put Norwegian as Dollar General. It's better than Kmart, but
I mean, honestly, I would say, and this is not a biased opinion for any reason. I honestly would put it. I'd put it more of a department store than a Target, really.
Well, I was doing it in these.
No, I understand. You do it in the local retail, mass market
right.
retail kind of thing. No, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Reason I go there and I say it like that is because Royal Caribbean's great, but I had an epiphany because I had just been on a Royal Caribbean ship in October, and we did this one in June.
Yeah.
And Adam, I think I was talking to you on the Royal ship, and I said, "Oh, these are some interesting. We're not at Disney anymore." Type. Yeah. and there's a reason for that. Disney, there's not an alcohol package. And I was telling Amanda on this trip, I said, I do miss not having the alcohol package, but I don't mind it because of what Disney is. Yeah. But all that to say, Disney shows are bar none the best. If you've been on the dream or the fantasy, you've seen the show called Believe. And I'm not ashamed to admit I bawled like a baby because there was a scene where the father is putting too much time into his work, and his daughter wants him to just have fun and play with him. And the genie takes him to the future. They show all the princesses with their princes, and the genie comes, and all of a sudden you see his daughter in this beautiful ball gown, and she's dancing with some guy, and the guy says, and the dad says, "Genie, who is this?" No, it's the fairy godmother. Who is this? Said, well, that's you were so gone for so much, you missed so much of your daughter's life. That's her husband. That's the guy that she is with now. And he's bawling like a baby. I'm sitting there holding my daughter, and crying and all. And I've told y'all the story about Dumbo and what that means to my family. The song that they play right after that, after he realizes how much he's missed, he's dancing with her, is Baby Mine. Mm. Oh, waterworks, not going to lie. But anyway, and the whole time Harper's like, "Daddy, it's okay. Daddy, are you okay?"
You're like, no, it's not. You never understand. Oh, man. Daddy, you spent a lot of money to sit here and cry.
I looked over at Amanda and said, "That's why I like Broadway, Amanda. I laughed 5 seconds ago. Now I'm crying.
That's it.
Now I'm happy." But anyway, Frozen, great Broadway show. I was talking with one of the entertainment staff, and she said, "Have you heard of the Frozen theory?" I said, what are you talking about? She said, I've heard of most every Frozen theory. I've heard of the one Adam's going to talk about here in a little bit. But she said, Hans was a good guy until the trolls made him a bad guy.
You're not a bad guy.
No.
I went Wreck-It Ralph on that. Sorry. So yeah, Hans was not a bad guy.
Hans had pure intentions until the trolls fixed Anna. Holy crap! If I do air quotes, watch.
Why does confetti come up if you do air quotes?
I don't know.
That is the
but
weird...
that's kind of cool.
Doesn't do it for me.
So
yeah, you have to. I haven't seen Frozen in ages. You need to remind me. So at what point?
So Anna or Elsa freezes the country, and she puts Hans in charge.
Yeah.
Hans hands out coats to everybody. He does everything to help the countryside.
Yeah.
To help Arendelle. And I said, wait. They capture Elsa before we see Anna and Kristoff with the trolls. Said, I know. But what does he say to the guards go after Elsa, and Hans says, Elsa, don't be the monster that they think you are. So he's trying to calm her down and saying, hey, hold up now. Calm down. Don't be the monster that these people think you are. And then all of a sudden, the trolls think that Kristoff and Anna are together. And then when they say, and Anna says, no, I'm engaged. Oh, she's just a bit of a fixer-upper. We can fix that.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, Hans is bad.
Interesting. Yeah, because it wasn't he wasn't that big twist didn't happen until he poured the fire out. He poured the water over the fire, which was after that.
Right. And I thought, no, there's no way this could happen. But then when I'm watching the show, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, I kind of believe this.
Yeah. And now I want to see what would happen if they finish each other's sandwiches.
I know.
What would have happened? There needs to be a what if for those kind of movies.
What if Frozen?
Yes.
What if Olaf did turn into a puddle? And yes, I did shout puddle in the middle of the show.
I bet you did. Oh my gosh.
I wasn't the only one either.
Well, in the Once Upon a Studio thing, that 100th short that they did, he tries to come out of the picture, and she freezes him.
Right.
So it's like, shh, please don't tell everybody that you were actually good.
Well, but that was after. So he was.
But I'm saying,
an evil guy.
But if maybe Elsa knew he was evil and she wants him to shut up because, dude, I'm still the queen. Go away. Even though now she's left now, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And Frozen too. She left.
Yeah. Anna's the queen now.
See, he should have just been nice, and he'd ended up the king. But whatever the reason was,
King George wouldn't be the king of Arendelle now.
I like it. So I have a Frozen theory.
John Adams.
That's fascinating. Good luck.
But seriously, it's one of those you're like,
yeah,
I'm going to have to watch Frozen again.
Yeah,
now.
That's actually feasible. A conspiracy theory I laugh at is that Disney named that Frozen, even though it's based on the Ice Queen, very loosely. They named it Frozen so that if you search Disney Frozen, it wouldn't talk about Walt's head being frozen in California. So they did it just to change Google. They picked that name specifically so that if you Google Disney Frozen, it would not talk about how Walt's head, body, whatever is frozen and waiting until we have the regeneration technology to bring him back.
Which, at this point, please bring him back. Please. Please.
Not just for us, for the world. The world needs.
For the world. Dude,
everybody needs a Walt right now.
I am so happy because the best Walt Disney autobiography is now on Audible.
Which one is that?
It's It's the Walt Disney American original.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And it's finally on Audible. And just hearing the stories of the guy who, hearing Walt's grandson talk about him, how he's just uncle or grandpa to us.
Yeah.
And just the stories of how he, this is probably the most famous guy in the world in the 60s.
Yeah.
But he's just a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah. It's like Go ahead.
That's what I was telling you. That's why I wish I had the opportunity to talk to Bob Gurr, because right now I think Bob Gurr is the last person, one of the last people that fully had long interactions with Walt.
Yeah, it's true.
And it would be amazing to sit and just hear stories.
It's like, well, the whole Disney story. It's like a time capsule to a time when every move that, and I'm not just talking about Disney, I'm talking about corporate America. Every move that a company or a person made wasn't thought through, polished by PR, edited 5 times, run through legal, and then presented. It was a time when he's like, I have an idea. This is something I want to do. I got enough money. I bought the land. Boom, we're going to make it happen, right? Whereas now it's like you have just I'll use a Disney example. This is good news. The Reedy Creek vote that just happened, right? Now speculation runs rampant around the world, and if
it's not speculation now.
Well, it is still speculation about a 5th gate. That's not confirmed just because they have the ability. They have the ability to do it. It hasn't been announced.
They have said.
They have not said that.
They want 2 mini parks.
They have the ability to add a 5th gate and 2 more mini parks. They have the ability to. Anyway,
another hotel, 2 more restaurants.
They have the ability now to. So, to which I say, hey, DeSantis, what was all the hullabaloo for? Right. It was a unanimous vote. What was all of that about? Anyway,
they have to use Tim. I think, what is it? 50% has to be from Florida companies.
It
now?
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's like even that now has so much attention and speculation and talk around it, where if it doesn't follow where the consensus hopes it goes, like the extra land behind Frontierland, right, or wherever they're going to put that in, it's like if that is not a villain's land, 50% of the people will be so disappointed, and how dare they not do? It's like, Walt used to just be able to do whatever the heck he wanted to do, and it was so new that people just loved it because it was new.
Yep.
It's like a time capsule to a whole other way of life that's just so fascinating. So fascinating.
And y'all, I'm going to tick off my other I'm going to tick off the population of my other podcast. You ready?
Oh boy.
You wanted Disney to do something. They did. Walcott is gone.
It's true.
But you are mad because the celebration or the Communicore Hall isn't exactly like the picture that they showed at D23 4 years ago. Y'all, celebrate what is new. I understand it's not exactly what you wanted, but you know what? Neither was Phantom Menace. Neither was Rise of Skywalker. Neither was the Obi-Wan series.
That's enough Disney bashing, dude. Come on.
No. But you know what? People still love it because it is something new and it is something moving forward. It might not be exactly what you want, but for some people, it's exactly what they wanted.
Well, and that's my
just
point.
Be happy there's something new.
If things don't match the concept art or what people would do if they wrote fan fiction and stuff like that, it's like they just get so disappointed in it. And we all exist, even the writers of some of the new Doctor Who stuff that's ended up somewhat controversial. Even they admit they live in kind of an echo chamber. And some of the themes in the show that are offending a lot of people come from the echo chamber the writers live in. And I think at the same time, the people who disagree with the Epcot, disagree with the Doctor Who, we live in an echo chamber too.
Right.
Because YouTube sees us watch one video about how Acolyte or whatever is not good, and then it sends us another one, and it sends us another one. and it sends us another one. And that's all that shows up in your feed, to the point where you don't even realize you've been manipulated into having that opinion.
Yep.
And it's not Disney, and it's not Apple, and it's not Netflix, and it's not Jeff Bezos. It's the algorithm of social media and YouTube that honestly are creating 30% of what any one person believes on any given day.
And that is why, and look, I think for myself. So what I'm going to say, it might sound like I don't think for myself. So don't think that. But I watch something, like I watched The Acolyte, and I like last night's episode. I didn't like it. I sat there and watched it. I thought, what the crap did I just watch? But then I go and watch Screen Crush. And he tells me, he goes through and says, hey, because this information was given to us, you can now easily make the tie in to what this was talking about in this episode. And this ties into what Anakin and Palpatine was talking about. Yep. And this ties into, so just because you, on the surface, you don't like something, and I get it. Adam, you and I have this conversation all the time. You don't have the time to watch an episode, go read a book, go watch a YouTube, and I get it. That's tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there are people out there who that is their job, to try to find all those tie-ins. And they do these Cliff Notes versions on YouTube. So what I'll do is I'll watch it. I'll watch the episode, sit on my thoughts for a minute, and then the next morning I'll go and watch Screen Crush or somebody else that does some of these tie-in episodes or tie-in what you miss Easter egg type things.
Yeah.
And that helps me formulate more of my opinion. So lean on what you understand. Yes, form your opinion, but realize that is opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has them, and sometimes they stink.
Well, and
we got way off the topic.
Let me just say, let me round that off with one last thing. People should, for all the reasons you listed, the other reason that people should not be upset about anything that's happened at Epcot is because it exists.
Right.
In today's, we've talked this before, but I'm not talking about Disney. I'm talking about Universal or anybody else. A park like Epcot will never be created again. Never. Because on its face, it was not intended to have 100 different tie-ins to generate money. Now, we've done a great job with the festival thing. I love going to Epcot for festivals. I think it's fantastic. I think the concerts are a great tie-in. I think we use it for a really nice purpose that has added to Epcot in a way that has made it generate probably more revenue than they ever thought it could. I love it. But people should just be happy that it's even there.
Right.
That it's even there. Because anything on property pre-NGM Studios, we'll call it pre-81. When Epcot opened, 82, it's open. Those things existed because a brother loved his brother so much that he wanted to finish his dream after he died. And that carried over long enough for them to see Epcot through because that's what he sold to begin with. Was it really a city? No. But it was a place where ideas could be exchanged and shared. And if you think about some of this stuff at Epcot now, it's about core memories. A lot of these meet and greet things are, yes, but that open space with those Adirondacks and the trees and the places you can plug in, it's where you can work from, sit with your family, exchange ideas. That was the whole point in the first place.
Yep.
So it actually fits the theme more in a less corporate way than it ever was intended to. So they should just be happy that it even exists. And don't nobody talk about Epcot, man. Let me tell you. I'll get on my soapbox.
It's my second favorite park. It is my second favorite park.
Yeah, man. But let me tell you, they can do whatever they want to at Epcot. Just do not get rid of the Smart Sour Plum Soda. Please. Ever. The barbecue soda is my life at Epcot. Do whatever else you want.
Oh, hey,
just don't get rid of that.
You said festivals. I'll say this. I went to Epcot the day before my cruise.
Yeah.
Epcot without a festival
feels different, doesn't it?
A little boring.
Yeah. They found a way to plus up something that was already pretty darn plussed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Way off topic there.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
that was the topic that we needed to get into, and I love it. We'll hit a couple of these. I saw the 20 of the best conspiracy theories that Americans believe.
Okay.
We'll just hit a couple. One of these I do want to talk about. Princess Diana's murder. And Ben Harris, I'm calling you out here. I want your opinion on this. How would Ben Harris get a hold of us, Adam?
He would call the delivery line at 863-345-0088.
Or
socials.
Or socials.
Or text you. He probably has your number.
He's got my Facebook. Yeah. Anyway, so within hours of Princess Diana's death, on a Paris tunnel conspiracy theory swirled, as was in the case of JFK. The idea that such a beloved and high-profile figure could be killed suddenly was a shock. Unlike many conspiracies, though, this one had a billionaire promoting it. Muhammad Al-Fayed, the father of Dodi, who was killed along with Diana. Al-Fayed claimed the accident was in fact an assassination by British intelligence agencies at the request of the royal family. To be honest with you, this one I will deem plausible.
Oh, I wouldn't put anything past a royal family who felt, I don't want to say slighted. Slighted doesn't seem like, she never fit.
Threatened.
Yeah, she never fit, right? And when you see the same people put Harry and his wife on the second row at the funeral, that tells you everything you need to know about how petty and vindictive folks can be. Right. And it's the same people. It's all the same folks. So yeah, I wouldn't say, and I was reading up on that one too, that she was actually still alive when they left the scene. I read that somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is one of the things too, that they carted her off, and that's when they did it before she could make it anywhere else. They could do it their way. Okay. That the accident was a way to get her out of there.
Yeah.
So
I think I don't put that much past that one.
Yeah. Although I wish my Princess Diana Beanie Baby would have put my kids through college like I thought it would.
I know, right?
Oh well.
All right, this one we've kind of already talked about, Adam. Ever been watching a movie and suddenly get the munchies? Or sitting on your sofa watching TV, then suddenly get this irresistible urge to buy a new car? If so, you may be the victim of subliminal advertising. Proponents of this conspiracy theory include Wilson Bryan Key and Vance Packard, both of whom claim their subliminal messaging in advertising were rampant and damaging. Through these books that brought this out, caused a public outcry and led to FCC hearings. Much of both books have since been discredited, and several key studies of the effect of subliminal advertising were revealed to be fake. It doesn't say all.
No, not all, yeah.
In the 80s, and you would probably remember this as well as I do, concern over the subliminal messages spread to bands such as Styx and Judas Priest.
The whole Backwards album thing?
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I think there are very subtle ways of, and this is beyond product placement, right? This is like subversive type stuff of manipulating you without you knowing it. Yeah, I think that probably is something that happens more than we think. I don't know if it's like to the MK Ultra level that most people would probably take it who wear the tinfoil hat. Yeah. But we're definitely conditioned in certain ways. Although I will say, I think that we're at the end of an era as far as that's concerned, because every single type of media we consume now has an ad attached to it.
Right.
I haven't bought a product based on an ad in 15 years. They influence me zero because I don't pay attention to them.
I will say
biggest waste of money and time.
I do pay extra for YouTube Premium so I don't have to see the ads.
Yeah, absolutely. Hulu without ads, Disney Plus without ads, ESPN, whatever it is, right? You'll pay more. But I just, ads don't, it's kind of like everything else. It's so saturated that they don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Although I'll say one ad that did work. And this is the flip side of anything you'd ever expect. And I did not see this when it happened. I don't know if it was in the U.S. or overseas, but around 2020, we were all a little preoccupied that year. Burger King. Burger King made an ad where they were changing the formula of the Whopper, where it had no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, and no artificial preservatives in it. And to do that and announce that, they actually showed a picture of a Whopper that had been left out for a couple of days that molded. Because the whole thing of you never see a McDonald's cheeseburger rot. Right. They actually took pictures of moldy Whoppers, and that was their ad of see how real our stuff is. It actually molds. So, yeah.
And it's still nasty.
I like a Whopper, though, man. Ooh. With extra onions.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, I cringe at saying this. Conspiracy theory. The moon landing was fake. I can tell you 100% the moon landing was not fake.
How can you tell us 100%, Dave?
My security clearance, I cannot tell you, but I can, without a single doubt in my mind, can tell you the moon landing was not fake.
Interesting. You can say with 100% certainty that a moon landing was not faked.
I can tell you with 100% certainty that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon.
Okay. But the moon's not real and the earth is flat, so I don't know how that happened. Good luck.
Oh, dear Lord.
Flat earth being a conspiracy theory, there were all these pictures.
On here.
What, is it on the? Yeah. There were all of these pictures of people taking shots of Starlink. It was bright enough where it passed over Florida the other day, and people were taking pictures of it. You could actually get a shot of it with your iPhone. And I don't know how someone can say, oh, look, there's something right at the moment they said it would go over our head, orbiting over us. The earth must still be flat. I ignore this happening. It's like, I think that's funny. Anyway.
There's a couple of theories of artists who have been dead and that their touring person is a cover-up. There is Paul McCartney.
Yep.
On November 9th, 1966, Paul got into an argument with the other Beatles, stormed out of the studio, and was promptly decapitated in a car accident.
Good Lord.
To cover up the whole thing, the band hired a look-alike and sound-alike.
Wow, that's pretty fancy.
Yeah. Then there's also one that says that Avril Lavigne was replaced by somebody named Melissa or something like that. I don't know that one. Now, here's one. JFK. Did Lee Harvey act alone? Was there a second gunman on the grassy knoll? The other one is that one of Trump's best friends said that he personally was told that when Trump got the clearance, he would declassify everything. But then he said, if you saw what I saw, you would keep it classified as well.
That information was so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
that again, though, that time in our country's history, I would put nothing past anybody.
Yep.
Nothing.
Was it an LBJ cover up?
Was it the Russians? I mean, it could have been anything.
Yeah. It could have been the Cubans.
Of
course, there's the Roswell cover up. There's chemtrails. As an airplane travels, they leave behind long watering condensation trails called contrails. But some conspiracy theorists think these condensation trails are much nefarious. The chemtrails conspiracy holds that condensation trails are full of other chemicals that scientists and the government are seeding into the atmosphere.
Yes. For mind control and such. Because something up at 30, 40,000 feet in the air makes its way down to Earth regularly.
Yes.
Sure it does. Through the rain, I guess. Through the rain. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There is the birds conspiracy theory.
The birds.
That birds aren't real.
Oh, that they're robots or drones or something?
Yes. Birds Aren't Real conspiracy is a movement developed by Peter McIndoe.
Oh, it's a movement now. Wow. Okay.
Yes. Who started spreading the idea in 2017. Until a December 2021 interview in the New York Times, McIndoe stayed in character as a true believer, insisting the media interviews and onlines that birds aren't real, but rather they are surveillance drones made by the U.S. government. Birds Aren't Real has a staff. It has organized real protests. It bought real-life billboards, and it emblazoned vans with their claim. The goal, McIndoe said, is to parody the misinformation that Gen Z finds itself stewing in.
Wow. Boy, you know what? I believe that for the single reason that if birds are drones that were created by the government to surveil us, 90% of birds live in the forest where there's nobody. That sounds like a government program. They spend all that money and put them in the wrong place. I agree with that. I could see that. Never mind that we eat birds.
Right? Chickens. So, Adam, here's your favorite one. I'm just going to read the blurb here.
Okay.
Flat Earth conspiracy theories first arose in the 1950s and has been giving new life in the internet age. They're bizarre, almost quaint. After all, even ancient people knew the Earth was round. The Greeks even figured out the planet's circumference in the 3rd century. Since then, astronauts have launched into space and seen the blue marble with their own eyes. But flat earthers don't see beyond their own horizon. The line between Earth and sky looks pretty flat, they figure, and all the rest of the evidence gets tossed out the window. On YouTube and message boards, flat earthers spend their time inventing weird physics to try to explain how things like gravity and lunar eclipses could possibly work if the Earth were a flat disk. Many are motivated by religious belief or the desire to see the universe as a more caring, human-centered place.
Instead of a God-centered place. See, that's your problem right there.
Right.
There's your problem. Yeah, I've watched some of those videos, and there are people who will go onto an airplane and take like a woodworking level with them.
Right.
And sit it on the tray table and be like, if we are traveling over a flat surface, then we would be flat. But since don't we have to constantly point our nose up to counteract gravity? So why are we not pointing our nose? It's like, what are you talking about, man? It's called lift. The whole airplane is lifted by the wings and the air pressure differential. You don't have to keep the nose pointed up. So that's that physics stuff that you're talking about. But
right.
Yeah, the whole firmament thing, that's a conversation for another day, but that drives me nuts.
I know. The last one of the 20 best, I didn't read all of them, but this one I laugh at every time. And then I want to real quick talk about 10 conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be true.
Okay.
Because not all conspiracy theories are, weird people believing things. The Denver International Airport is a quirky place known for its offbeat art.
Yep.
Gargoyles overlook the baggage claim. Murals depict scenes of war and horror. And there's a 32-foot blue horse with red eyes presiding over the road leading in and out of the terminal. All of this weirdness, combined with the municipal drama surrounding the airport's construction, sparked an array of conspiracy theories. The most common, according to the Denver Public Library, is that the airport is secretly the headquarters of the New World Order, the Illuminati, the Reptilians, or some other shadowy groups with plans to take over the world. To bolster those beliefs, theorists spin alternate explanations of the airport's odd decor. For example, an inlay in the floor with a symbol of gold and silver, so AU and AG, referencing Colorado's mining history, became a secret message about a made-up pathogen known as Australian antigen. A mural decrying war and wishing for world peace becomes a warning about a totalitarian. Why can't I say this word? Totalitarian future.
There you go.
All of this is built, according to the theorist, on top of a 6-story deep bunker where the elites will hunker down to ride out the end of the world. Or maybe it's a prison for dissenters. Of course, there's no evidence of anything beneath the airport besides maintenance tunnels and baggage transport systems and all that fun stuff. But that doesn't stop those who want to believe in something more nefarious beneath the airport hub.
I love it. We spent all of 15 minutes there. I can't tell you whether any of that's true. We ran from one connecting flight to the next on our way to California. It looked okay. I mean, it looked like an airport. That's all I noticed. Oh, that's a good one.
It's an airport. Colorado's weird anyway.
Yeah, I have one to add to that list that was not on there, but the people that say that White Star Line, when they built the Titanic, they painted Olympic on it and changed the Titanic and put when they built the Titanic, they put Olympic on it and flipped them and then sunk the Olympic for insurance money instead of the brand new Titanic, which looked pretty similar.
Have you also heard that there's one, I think it was Rockefeller, was supposed to go on that, and his three biggest competitors.
Yes.
Yeah, he bought the tickets for his three biggest competitors to be on the Titanic.
And then backed out. Yep.
And then he backed out while his competitors went on it.
Isn't that crazy? I love it. All right, so let's get some true ones.
It's just like what my wife knows that this, there are people who have feelings, Final Destination feelings, because my wife knows one of the backup singers for Leonard Skinner, who was supposed to be on that plane, but said she felt like this was not going to be a good plane ride and got off.
Interesting.
And the plane went down.
Wow.
And was it Waylon Jennings gave up his seat? No, it was Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard
gave up his seat for the Big Bopper.
Yep.
So
wow, man.
The day the music died.
So she flew on like a free bird and they did not. Got it.
Exactly. All right. So here are 10 conspiracy theories that actually turned out to be true.
All right, hit me.
The FBI spied on John Lennon. So people actually thought that, the FBI spying on Lennon. Well, it turned out in a 2000 book, it was turned to be true.
Interesting. But why? Because people listened to him?
I mean,
yeah. He was pretty outspoken.
Yeah, he was anti-war. He was everything. There were people who believed in the 50s and 60s that tobacco companies buried evidence of real dangers of smoking. Well, in the 1990s, big tobacco was found to do just exactly that.
Yep.
People believed that the U.S. government collected dead children to test the effects of nuclear radiation.
And that's true?
It was proven that happened.
Wow.
Specifically, the effect of nuclear radiation on the human body was unclear, so the U.S. government commissioned a study called Project Sunshine. The goal of Project Sunshine was simple enough: research how nuclear fallout affects human tissue. Trying to figure that out requires two things: radiation
and tissue,
and human tissue.
A bomb and some people. Interesting. Right. Did you know that there's a guy who actually used to eat uranium? He used to go around the country saying that radiation was a farce, and he would eat uranium as part of his demonstration. It did not kill him.
Why?
Google that one later. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it's serious. He used to go around saying that radiation was not dangerous, and he'd take the Geiger counter and hold it to it, and you hear it click, 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 and then he'd eat the uranium and hold it up to his stomach. You'd hear it clicking, and evidently he was fine.
Okay. There were people that believed that the U.S. military planned to kill Americans and blame it on Cuba. That was proven to be true. The Bay of Pigs invasion is a clear failure in the U.S. Political and strategic handling of Castro's rise. But it didn't end there. The U.S. government continued to fail in its policies with Cuba, which led to a ton of conspiracy theories. One theory claimed that U.S. military planned various false flag operations it would blame on Cuba. These theories proved to be true through Operation Northwoods, but it never made it out of the planning stage.
Can I just say, I'm okay with that name, but the other one being called Sunshine?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man.
The mafia was once believed to be a conspiracy theory.
Wow.
But
that is definitely not a conspiracy theory.
Right. The oil and gas industries hid the truth of leaded gasoline. So there were people in the ages of cars with tinfoil hats saying leaded gas is not good for us. But that's been proven to be true.
Interesting.
Here's one that is near and dear to my heart.
Oh, boy.
Towards the end of World War II, the U.S. and USSR both rushed together as many Nazi scientists as possible to help develop their own rocketry program. The U.S. did so under Operation Paperclip, which we've talked about a lot.
Yes, we have.
The operation was entirely secret, but when it started to come out that men like Wernher von Braun were behind the American space program, a conspiracy theory arose. It was widely believed that the government covered up or whitewashed numerous scientists' histories, suggesting they had little to do or no involvement in Nazi atrocities.
Nazi what?
Atrocities.
Atrocities.
I thought it was aristocratic.
Learn a new word today.
But, I know, right? I will say, Werner von Braun was a member of the Nazi Party.
That's a true statement.
He was not. His history has not been whitewashed. I know people that know him, or that knew him. My own grandfather knew him very well, and he has since denounced every bit of what happened in World War II.
I bet he did. I paid him good, man. And you're lucky. You're really lucky that I know you. And this isn't the Bad Friends podcast. You ever listen to it?
I know.
I'd be like, "Oh, your grandfather knew him as well, huh?"
I expected that.
I would never besmirch the good name of your grandfather, though.
No, but you besmirched the good name of the person that put my town on the map.
Hey, he's the one that signed the little card. Okay, I didn't sign it for him.
I'm sure you signed plenty of cards in Alabama history that you
talking about. Wow. I've often caught myself musing on the advancement in technology. We'll use your boy Werner as an example. We could not launch a rocket from point A to point B consistently just 80 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now you and I are having a conversation over an internet platform that provides real-time video and audio while I'm recording it on something that puts it on this little tiny microchip, little tiny memory card that we then put out there that gets downloaded in an instant thanks to the speed of light and fiber optics to whoever wants to listen to it in an instant. In just 80 years. In shorter time if you consider the internet components and memory and computers and all of that. Just in 50 years, 40 years, have really gotten to the point where we can do that. How has technology advanced so fast? And do we really just live in a matrix?
Aliens.
Where they upgrade new computer code and say, this is the new thing we're going to make available to all of the people. Boom. The phone. It's a phone. The phone doesn't exist. It's a thing that we use to communicate, sure. But how physically can you and I be having a real-time conversation from this far away when it has to route through a server and up into space or whatever else? How can that be feasible when just 50 years ago we barely had 8-bit video games? How is it possible?
I have a 1 terabyte download speed.
That's what I'm saying. How is that even physically possible?
I don't know.
To send those packets of information that fast when we didn't even have the iPhone when my son was born. Barely had it.
China.
It's just no way. There's no way for it to be feasible. And then I know that there is. The engineer in me is like, yes, it is. But sometimes I like to muse on that there's no way that you can play a game with a real-time game like Fortnite or Call of Duty or something with that many people, and in real time you can interact with somebody that far away where you have to make split-second decisions. And it happens. There's no way. We are living in Ready Player One and just don't know it.
I can see that.
Yeah. There you go.
Or in 37 days, how you and I can be playing EA Sports College Football 25.
Right? Right?
Who's counting those days?
How in the world do we have NIL in college football? It's got to be the Matrix. There's no way in the real world that would ever happen.
Right? Did the world really end in 2012 when the Mayans said it would?
You know what? Maybe. Or it was COVID. While we were locked in, they did a bunch of upgrades out in the files for all of the stuff that's out there, and
they had to upgrade the birds. That's why we had to all be locked up.
Man. You know what? I'm actually concerned. There was a bird. I have a bougainvillea right outside of my office window. There's a bird sitting there for about 30 minutes chirping the other day. What did I do to get their attention?
Bob was checking on you, making sure you were working.
Oh, my gosh. Awesome.
Yep. Well, all right. There's our very long delve into conspiracy theories, Epcot,
etc.
etc. Walt's frozen head.
We literally touched on it all.
I probably ticked off half of the top of the world listenership that listens to Unrelated to Birth. Sorry.
Just enjoy stuff. Love it for what it is.
The thoughts and ideas coming out of the mouth of Dave Adams do not are not those of Adam Russell.
You're darn right.
Nor are they really those of Terry Weaver as well. Sorry.
Oh,
all right. So if you would like to muse with us, you can do so on our Instagrams, on our Facebooks, the Unrelated to Birth listener group. Like us, share us, download us, please. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, iPodcast, iPod, whatever. And while you're at it, go listen to the new Eminem Houdini song. It's awesome.
What?
Oh,
that is totally random. That's you're throwing in some randomness right at the end of the show. You sprinkled a little bit of it on the end. I like that.
I know. Well, I mean, Houdini, you've probably heard it now too, right?
I have not heard Houdini.
Oh, dude. We'll listen to it after the show. But it's basically his we'll talk later. All right. Anyway, just give us love, share us with a friend. Also, call into the delivery line and give us your favorite conspiracy theory. Adam, how would they do that?
They would call 863-345-0088. That's 345-0088.
And
do it.
We would love to hear from you. We would play it on the show. And we will talk to y'all in a couple of weeks where we might go live. And I might make Adam watch a couple of things.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
we might do it.
Okay,
sounds
good.
Adam, take him home.
Yeah, thank you guys for your time. We appreciate it as always. Be safe out there and be kind to one another. And remember, we love you, but not as much as Jesus does. And we'll talk to you again in 2 weeks when we might go live and watch something. Who knows?
We'll see. Bye, guys.